In this video, I'll show you how to use planes and surfaces to make your landscapes look realistic. And it's in my book, Ellen's Guide to Design Elements, which also has other interesting information and is only $5. Let's use planes to show depth in a landscape. So in this first picture, we have a stream or a road and cliffs on both sides. And all the elements narrow as they approach eye level, and the contour lines get closer together. Now in the second picture, the receding planes in perspective could be like plowed fields with cross contour lines. And the planes get smaller, thinner, and more horizontal with distance. So this one is pretty diagonal, this is less diagonal, and this one's almost horizontal. And then in this final image, I show cliffs in perspective. Some of them converge toward a vanishing point on the left, and others go toward the right. I want to show you how to draw cliffs in perspective. So draw a form that looks like cliffs on both sides of a winding river. Their bases get smaller and higher with distance, while the tops over here don't change in any consistent way, and it suggests that we're about level with these tops on top of a cliff looking down at this river. So it's a bird's eye view of the river. Now draw these pink converging lines, and the ones on the right here go up with distance, so they're below us, but these lines up here don't change in a consistent manner, so we're probably about level with these lines. To form the cliff, start with number 1, then go behind that cliff to number 5, and then come out as visible number 2. Similarly, on the bottom, we see line 3. It goes behind that cliff to number 5 and comes out as 4. And this is the final look. I'm now going to show you how to create distance using lines and planes. So these first 3 are about lines, and these are about planes. So when you draw diagonal receding lines like these, they get more horizontal with distance, and none of them should look parallel. And the intersection of these lines at these dots should be positioned so that each one is different distances from the 4 edges of the painting. If these intersections are placed in a diagonal like that, then that's good because it suggests depth. Now you can convert these receding lines into partitions here by drawing the vertical lines. Also, you could use the same basic diagram to draw these plowed fields. Now, what about the planes? You could start with horizontal planes that differ in size and direction, but there should be one dominant direction, and in this case, the dominant direction is toward the upper left. Usually you want an odd number rather than an even number of planes, although after about 8 planes, no one's counting anymore. And then I converted these planes into the tops of cliffs, and these cliffs get smaller, thinner, with lower value and color contrasts as they recede. Sometimes in landscapes, the different vertical planes overlap. And in Egypt here, I outlined 4 different planes. And they seem to be on top of each other because there's little atmospheric perspective in this dry Egyptian air. This image shows elements on 3 vertical planes: the bridge, the trees, and the buildings in the back. And these planes are parallel to the picture plane, meaning they have true horizontal and vertical lines. We don't see the width of each plane receding in the distance, so there are no converging lines. So how do we show depth? One way is to show more detail with sharper edges in the front. These have less detail and less sharp edges, and these buildings in the back have little detail and very soft edges. And the other way is to use colors where you have some oranges and yellows in front and mainly blues in the background. You can divide a landscape into 3 parts. So the foreground is usually the darkest, sometimes treated abstractly, and usually we don't put the focus there because it may stop the eye movement into the picture. But if the focus were in the foreground, it would let something that is usually nearby and little become large and important. The midground has usually bright, colorful objects during the day with a series of retreating planes, and this is the most common area for the focus. The background is light and bluish due to atmospheric perspective. Notice that this mountain here is above the horizon. Now, if a focus is put in the background, then the foreground and midground would contain the eye path going to the focus. You could have a high horizon, which is mainly composed then of midground and foreground, or you could have a low horizon with little midground where the focus is in the sky. And the sky is also divided into a foresky, a mid-sky, and a back sky. The sky is usually the lightest part of a landscape because it emits light, whereas the land reflects light. With the sun overhead, the most direct light rays hit the horizontal plane at nearly a 90-degree angle, making this the lightest part of the landscape. Light hits slanting planes like mountains at more of an angle, so some light rays are deflected away, making the mountain a mid-value. And vertical planes like trees are the darkest since they receive the fewest light rays. The dark local color and value of foliage make them even darker. So when you have tree highlights, make them dark enough so they appear to be part of the form. But don't choose black for these dark shapes because it may look like holes. We want each of these zones to be cohesive with their own particular value differences. And of course, there are various exceptions to this scheme, like white snow on the ground or on a mountain with the dark, stormy sky above. This slide shows how planes can be organized. And in the bottom here, I have plan views like you're looking down at these planes. So let's look at the first one. When I have a positive, that means that it's pushed in front, whereas this one is in back. This one is in front, and this one is in back. And when you have this kind of arrangement, the planes recede on both sides, and Brandt considers this divisive because there's no return back to the picture plane where the brown rectangle lies. This one is better and more interesting because the baseline alternates, both pushing and pulling the different planes. And this give and take is more satisfying than this backward arrangement in A. The still life here follows the second pattern where we have this one in back, this in front, this in back, and so on. So you get an enhanced sense of space. You want your background to recede behind the cylinder and then curve forward in compensation. You get a better sense of space and a return back to the picture plane. This one is bad because the background curves away, so you lose the sense of the picture plane. This example is more like the good example where we feel like the background curves around a bit. And also there's interchange. You can see that this vase is light here against a dark background and dark against a light background. So it creates value contrasts. This too has interchange that makes the top where the top is lighter than the background here, whereas the bottom here is darker than the background. And these two values meet in the shaded area right here, where there's a passage between the bottle and the background. So the lighting here results in very strong value contrasts for the whole left side of this bottle, making it look particularly well lit. Check out my book on Amazon, which has this and other information, and please remember to subscribe.